everyone, welcome back to our channel Vani Rani. Today we are going to learn in CBSE Grade 12 Computer Science Python functions. Here my intention is to make Python programs quite easy. So today we are learning about definitions, arguments, scope and recursion with working examples. So without further delay, let's get into our video. What is a function? It is a piece of code which can be reusable to perform a specific task. But this function will be having a name. That's the reason why definition was mentioned. A function is a named reusable block of organized code that performs a single well-defined task. Writing the same piece of code again and again, we write the code once and call n number of times simple, isn't it? For any concept which we learn, we should understand why we have to learn this concept. Similarly, why we need functions. Reusability. You write the code once and use many times. Modularity. Break the big problem into logical units. Reduce redundancy. Avoid repeating the same code. Eraser. Debugging. Errors are easy to locate because we write in bits and pieces of code. Abstraction. Knows what is does, now how to do, where to do, so on. Readability. Well-named calls self-explained in the code. Functions helps us write better, clean and smarter code. Types of functions. Functions makes our code powerful, organized and easy to reuse. There are three types of functions: built-in functions, module functions and user-defined functions. Built-in functions. The functions which are already defined in the Python, which are ready to use in a standard library like print, input, length, etc. Whereas module functions, it defines inside the module or a library. That means you are going to import it from somewhere and use it, like math, statistics. In statistics, we use mean, and at the same time, random module, when you insert, we take random integers, so on. User-defined functions, which is also called as UDF. It is created by the programmer, that means we, to perform a specific task like addition, calculated, greet, etc. Choosing the right type of function and writing clear, effective and reusable Python code is our target. Next concept is defining a function. How can you define a function? As we already learned, functions helps us to write the reusable and organized code. So here, if you see the code, def function name, parameter 1, parameter 2, and here column, and we mentioned as docstring, which is optional. Like if you have any statements, you are going to write and return the value. Okay, don't worry, don't get confused. I am here to explain you in detail. Now, if I write def greet name, I just want to greet you with your name. Hello Ravi, welcome to our channel. So isn't it personal? Just you have to write def greet name, and here docstring is nothing but if you want to explain about that particular function, you are going to write. It's optional. If you want to write, you can write it. Otherwise, you need not to write. A normal print statements which we write, I have written here. There are certain syntax rules. Def is a keyword, means every function compulsory starts with def. Function name is a normal identifier. All the rules of identifiers will fit here. Whereas parameters or formal parameters are optional here. If you want, you can pass. If you don't want, you don't need to pass. Function body must be indent. You don't need to use, in earlier C language, you have flower brackets and other things. Here you don't have any such things. And of course, return is optional. If return is absent, it returns none automatically. A function is a named block of code that performs a specific task and can be reused. Let us understand more clearly calling a function and how to follow to execute. If you see here, we have defined square root of n and result is n into n. Written what is the result. Now, if you see, till here is the definition of a function. From print start, we are going to call our function x is equals to square root of 5. Means I just want to know the square root of 5 and you get the written value here and you get the square root of 5 is 25 here. If you see the output, you get start, square root of 25 and end. Flow of statement is start from the program. Because print start is there, no? From here it will start. When function of square root of 5 is called, it will directly go to the function body, which is nothing but depth square of n. It executes this function body and then returns the result in the third line of our program, that is square root is print square is x, which is nothing but your result 25. And control resumes our code. Okay, clear? Execution begins at the program first statement, top to the bottom. A function calls and controls to the first line of the function, and the body runs fully or until return it hit, and control jumps back to the right after the call and execute resumes. A function can call another function, forming a chain, but control always returns to where it is called from. Think of function calling like a mini trap. You can go to the function, do the work, result with the result, return with the result, and continue your journey. Arguments in functions. Positional argument and default arguments. Arguments are the values we pass to the functions. Now let us understand the positional arguments. Here I have defined info, name, comma, age, and then print name is and age is. Amar, info, name and age. If I want, I can even call again this info and I'll call some other name like Ravi, and then his age also you can call and just simply run your code. Once you run the code, you get the answer as Aman is 17 and Ravi is 26. This is nothing but your positional argument. Now I am interchanging that age is equals to 17 and name is equals to Amar, and I am calling them again and just run the code. If you see, Aman is 17 and Ravi is 26. Here order doesn't matter. This type of passing arguments is called as keyword argument, and you cannot pass arguments like this. Let us see what happens if you pass arguments. You get an error. So always you have to, like when you are sending a position, you should definitely position properly with the keyword and value. Let's continue with the default argument. If nothing is written, what should be there? So in the same code, age is equals to defaultly 17 I have written. Now I just call info, so Alisa, and then simply run my code. And if you see, Alisa is 17. Okay, if you don't write anything, by defaultly you get the age of Elisa. If you write something, the new ages like Bob is 20, Charles is 25 and Alisa is 17. Okay, so calling a function is nothing but default function. Till now, how many we have learned? We have learned about positional arguments, we have learned about default arguments, we have learned about keyword arguments. Now positional argument must also come before a keyword argument, like just simply here age is equals to 20, then positional argument with a keyword. Okay, so positional argument with a keyword also can be run, but you cannot write, for example, starting if name is equals to Charlie, you should compulsory write age is equals to 25. Without age is equals to 25, that is keyword, you cannot execute the piece of code. See the output of it. You can see the output, right? So these are the types of arguments. What are the arguments? Positional arguments, default arguments, keyword arguments, positional arguments. Under position plus keyword is a mixed argument. Okay, a positional argument can never follow a keyword argument in call. It is very important. This is very common error what we people do in regularly. Keyword arguments are always flexible. Mixing positional is first, then keyword, and also helps to make the code reusable. Now, what if we don't know how many arguments we have to pass? That is nothing but your arbitrary arguments, that is star args and double star kwargs. I call it as extra positional arguments, extra keyword positional arguments. Let us understand clearly about extra positional arguments. I have defined star as numbers, and if you see, I have randomly taken few totals. I just want you to print the total of the following terms and then run the piece of code, and if you run the code you get answer as 10. Okay, this is position. If you want, I can increase a few more values and I can see you get the output differently. If you see, this is nothing but, like, if you don't know before writing the piece of code how many you want to do, this is nothing but extra positional argument. Now let us understand about key value argument. So I double star details is keyword argument, single star is extra positional argument. So I have taken two variables called key and value, and I am printing what is the key and what is the value. If you see carefully, I have taken three keyword arguments. One is name, age and grade. Okay, same way, if you want, you can add few more arguments in another thing, like Alisa, Ali, age some 15 and studies in grade 12, and I write subject, means I am adding something and making use of is mathematics. Okay, so any number of arguments can be done. So if you see on the top, I have executed only 3, and then followed by here I have executed 4 arguments. This is how this works. You have to use star arg when you want a function to accept any number of positional arguments, whereas double star kw arg when you want a function to accept any number of keyword arguments. Now let us understand, this is very important concept, students, that is immutable arguments which acts like call by value, and mutable arguments which acts like call by reference. Like we all know what are the input immutable data types, that is integer, float, string, tuple and boolean, which means it cannot be changed. Whereas list, dictionary, sets, these are mutable data types where the data can keep on changing. I have taken two variables, like I have taken def modification of x is equals to x plus 10 integer of x, and a is equals to 5 modification of a, and print the output of 5. So in a, 5 is stored, and when it goes to inside function, x value will be increased by 10. Now the value is 15, but when it comes outside the function, the a value keeps on unchanging. Reassigning the x inside the module with x is equals to x plus 10, just position. Like once it comes out of the function, it will stop working. Whereas call by reference, here what happens is I just list dot append 100, means at the end of the list a 100 value is added. My list is 1, 2, 3, and then when it goes to inside a function, we have added 100, and then my list is 1, 2, 3, 100. Now let us understand about return statement. Return sends a value back to the caller and immediately ends the function. So generally we write in return at the end of the function. So if you see, if nothing is written, as we already discussed, none will be written. If something is written, you get that 5 comma 3. What is the result? You get the result. Similarly, we have multiple values also, where multiple values also can be written. Return lets a function to send results back to the caller and stop execution immediately. Next concept is scope of variables, local versus global variables. Local variables, it declares inside a function. Once it comes outside the function, these values will not work. Okay, whereas global values, although it is declared inside or outside the function, it will work properly. So actually global variables will be declared outside the function. So it were throughout the program or inside the function also, the value is accessible everywhere in the program. So I prefer local variables using global variables only when necessary. Local variables are safe and less error panel. Next, understand about global keyword. If you want inside a function to declare any variable or any value to be changed throughout it, you have used as global of x, where x is equals to x plus 10. In earlier example, the value is not global, so the value of x will not change, but here the value of x will change. That is the main function of global keyword. So namespaces and LEGB was nothing but it is like local, means inside the current function, outside the function for the nested functions, and global is always top level module, whereas built-in functions, print, length and other built-in functions are available. Python searches in this order like local, enclosed, global and built-in. That's why we write as LEGB. And what is recursion? It is quite interesting topic, and this topic we will continue in the next session also. A recursion function solves smaller version of the same problem until the base case is stopped. We have taken very famous function def of factorial of n. If n is equals to 0 or n equals to 1, written 1. Otherwise, if you see written n into factorial of n minus 1, means you have 5, for example, I have taken factorial as 5, I'll call again 4, then 3, then 2 and then 1. This is how once it reaches to 1, it winds up. So common mistakes which we do is like we forgot to call a function, we will mix up return and result. Result is equals to add comma a comma 3 you will be writing, which will be very confusing, because if you are passing parameters you have to be extremely careful. And wrong argument order also should be avoided. You have to send in proper argument order, because you feel like whatever you have given is correct because keyword and value is there, but for Ravi we haven't mentioned a keyword, that's why it is wrong. Changing a global accidentally, use global only when you truly needed it, but always don't use global if you don't need it. A global variable is inside a function. Let us quickly recap or what we have learned today. We have learned about definition, which is a reusable logic or piece of code repeated again and again. We have learned how to call a function, how to pass arguments, and then how we have learned about written function, scope function and reuse function. That's all guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this learning journey. Keep learning, keep coding, keep growing. Every function you write today makes you a better developer tomorrow. Thank you so much. It's Rojarani signing off.